Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for Week 2 of the 2021 NFL season. Now, first game up, well, the Giants are going to be going to Washington for the Thursday night matchup. And this game, is basically a classic toss-up. Not exactly world beaters going at it. I don't know what's going on with Fitzpatrick, the quarterback for Washington. There's speculation that Cam Newton may be going over to the Washington football team. I'm not sure what's happening with that. The Giants did not look very good last week. They lost decisively to Denver. It's really hard to say. The last week was so unpredictable. It's like you got to be a medium to pick these games. You had Green Bay getting annihilated on the road against New Orleans. Well, in this particular game, the only thing I can say is that the tiebreaker is going to go to the home team. So I'm going to take the Washington football team in this one, in a close game against the Giants. Now, the next matchup, Cincinnati at Chicago. Well, in this particular game, I'm going to go with the Bears to bounce back after losing last week. I'm going to look at this game. Cincinnati actually played very well last week. They surprised me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. There were a number of upsets and surprises last week in the NFL. But I'm going to take the Bears in this one. I don't know if they're going to go with Justin Fields or Andy Dalton. There was something on Around the Horn today. They were on ESPN. They were talking about it. It was Tim Cowlishaw said it looks like the better option would be just to let Andy Dalton stay in there and get beat up. I guess he was talking about that as opposed to bringing Justin Fields in. Well, based on that, the Chicago Bears offensive line obviously doesn't sound very stupendous, but I'm going to still take them to get this one in a competitive game against the Bengals. So anyway, we'll see, because I don't know if the Bengals, their win last week was just an aberration or if it's a harbinger of things to come. We'll see. Now, the next game, we're going to have the Houston Texans going will be at Cleveland. Well, in this particular game, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns to win. Houston last week looked very good. They were up against Jacksonville, though, and Jacksonville right now is in reclamation mode. They might have Urban Meyer as the coach, but that doesn't mean they're going to produce a sterling record this season or anything. I don't really. Then Houston, might actually be good this season. They may not be that bad. I don't know if they're going to be, they're going to win 12 or 13 games, but they may be competitive. But the Cleveland Browns, last week they looked like they let a golden opportunity slip through their hands. They had an opportunity to defeat Kansas City, and it looked like from around the middle of the third quarter on, roughly, and till the end of the game, that Kansas City just dominated. They made their adjustments. Cleveland was not able to do anything to counter Kansas City's adjustments. They were basically, waxed the rest of the game. And Cleveland, they're a team that a lot of people project to go deep in the playoffs this season. I think they're good enough to beat Houston. They may still be a little bit away from Kansas City, but in terms of their caliber, but I think they're still good enough to beat the Texans. So I'll take Cleveland at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take I'll take the Rams to win on the road against Indianapolis Colts. We're going to find out in these weeks to come if the Rams are actually for real. I know that a lot of people picked the Rams to win the division this season, and the Colts did not look overly impressive last week. We're just kind of finding out about some of these teams right now, and I think the Colts are one where a lot of people aren't really sure of. I'm not really sure of them. They're a little bit of an enigma to me. But the Rams right now are a team where I mean, with their defense, and if Matthew Stafford is just good, they can go. They can actually be one of the better teams in the NFC this season. I think they're good enough to win on the road, so I'll take the Rams in this one. Now the next game, well, Buffalo Bills were upset last week by the Steelers. A number of teams that were favorites lost. Buffalo, I'm sure, was one of them. And now they got to go at Miami. Miami just barely got by New England last week. Buffalo wants to redeem themselves. I think in this particular game, Buffalo will do that. I think they got enough in them to win this game. I don't think they're going to start the season 0-2. If they do, even though it's early, they may be in a little bit of trouble because they only lost 3 games all of last season during the regular season. So, and Miami with Tua or whoever they're going to put a quarterback, we're going to have to see how that evolves during the season. They only put 17 points up last week. That was against the Patriots and their rookie quarterback. And I don't think, they're going to have to do a little better than that to go against Buffalo because Buffalo's going to be a little irate after what happened last week, and I think they're going to come out of this game full throttle, and they're going to do, they're going to play much better, I believe. I expect a much better Bills team than last week, so I'm going to take Buffalo to win. Now the next game, now speaking of the New England Patriots, are going to be going to New Jersey next week to face my Jets, and you imagine if the Jets actually won, they would actually have a better record after 2 whole weeks than the Patriots. But I'd like to see them win, but I don't think Belichick and company is going to start out at 0-2. I don't like to state this, but I have to be objective when I do these prediction videos and take emotion out of the equation, and I have to in this one. New England, I'm going to take over the Jets. I think it'll be competitive, but I think New England pulls this out. So I'll take the Patriots to win on the road over the Jets. Now the next game. Now the San Francisco 49ers at Philadelphia. Well, Philadelphia right now, they played like lights out last week with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. They actually really looked exceptional on both ends of the ball. The defense looked like it played very well. And the 49ers coming off a good win in which towards the end, they got a little lax, but they managed to hold on and win the game. But Philadelphia, in their game, they dominated from basically start to finish, and they got one of the better, point differentials early on in the season. And I think it's really it's a hard game, and keep in mind it's very early still in the season, so it's really hard to get a real gauge on the character and identity of a lot of these teams. In this particular game, it's no exception as far as both of these teams go. But I'm going to reluctantly take the Eagles in this one. I'm going to see if this Jalen Hurts magic, if it keeps going, I'm going to take a chance and go with them one more week and see if they can win this particular one. I know the 49ers and all those teams in NFC West, there's people that think that they all got a good shot to make the postseason, but we're going to see a little bit about the 49ers in this particular game, if they could go into Philadelphia and win or not, and we'll find out. If Philadelphia wins, it might be early, but maybe they're better than people anticipated. But I'm going to take the Eagles to win at home. Now the next game. Well, we have the Las Vegas Raiders at Pittsburgh. Now, the Raiders actually played very well last week. They surprised a lot of people by beating the Ravens, who didn't really appear to have that ravenous defense going for them. They have to, I think what it is, you have to look at this game, is that Pittsburgh upset Buffalo last week, and they're going to be at home. The Las Vegas Raiders now, Derek Carr, 1 week into the season, is leading the NFL in passing yards. He really played very well. I think Carr might be an underrated quarterback. I think he's really very good. And this should be a tight game, I believe. But I like Pittsburgh to get this at home. I think Pittsburgh right now, they want to show that, last season, at the end of last season, was not really who they are, that they're going to resemble more that team that we saw in the first 11 games when Pittsburgh started 11-0 last season. Roethlisberger and company, they were very resilient last week. They came back. They had a pretty good halftime deficit, I believe, and then they came back in that second half and went on a rampage. And they played very well. They got that one touchdown on a special teams play. The Pittsburgh really might surprise some people this season. So I'm going to take the Steelers at home in this one. Hold on a moment, people. Well, now the next game. Okay, I'm going to take New Orleans at Carolina. Well, I'm going to take the Saints to win this one. This NFL is so unpredictable. Nothing would shock me, even if Carolina pulls this one out. But the only thing I have to go on is what I've seen so far. And the Saints, they got like one of the best point differentials in the NFL after 1 week after annihilating Green Bay. Who would have thought Green Bay would come out and do what they did and only score 3 points? And you look at the Saints, they put up like 38. And all credit I give to Jameis Winston. He was like 14 of 19 passing. He still threw 4 or 5 touchdown passes and no INTs. And there was a knock on him. People were cynical of him going into the season. How is he going to do? Is he going to be, an interception machine? What's going on? Now, it's only 1 week, but he did play very well last week. Carolina just got past the Jets, and I'm not really sold on Sam Darnold as the quarterback for Carolina. He may be good, but I like Jameis Winston better. Carolina does have a good running game, though. With McCaffrey, I don't know 100% if he's playing. I haven't checked his status on him, but I'm sure he likely is. And if it's going to be, as far as the running game, Carolina has an edge. But I believe, although the Saints with Kamara, I don't know, I guess it's about even. But I think the passing game is going to be a little bit better with the Saints with Winston. So I'm going to take the Saints to win on the road. Now the next game. Well, the next game I'm going to take, it's going to be Denver at Jacksonville. Well, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos to win this one on the road. Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback for Jacksonville, is going to be really, I think it's going to be a slow, progressive process for him. Denver with Teddy Bridgewater is the more experienced quarterback. Denver does not have a bad defense with Von Miller. I think they're going to try to get some pressure on Jacksonville. I'm not sure about their offensive line, but we're going to find out and see if Jacksonville can actually contain that defensive pass rush from Denver. They have a chance, but I just don't think they're going to get it done. I think Urban Meyer is going to have to get accustomed to this, that they're going to lose a number of games this season. Jacksonville, there's 17 games in the season. I don't know if Jacksonville can do better than 5-12 this season. And I like Denver. Denver looks like a team that could at least be near 500, like 8-9, 9-8. So I like Denver to get this one done on the road. Now the next game, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Arizona Cardinals. Minnesota, that game could have gone either way last week against the Bengals. I didn't really think the Vikings had any business losing to the Bengals, but they found a way to do that. Now they're going to go into Arizona. Arizona, of course, completely demoralized the Tennessee Titans last week. It made Tennessee look like a really below average team last week. Chandler Jones of Arizona is leading the NFL in sacks right now with 5. It's only 1 week, but I don't know if Minnesota can't contain him. It could be a long day for Kirk Cousins and company. So I'm going to take. Minnesota does have a decent offense, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to counter Arizona in this one, and Arizona is at home. Arizona, I mean, destroyed um, Tennessee last week, and that was on the road. And now Arizona's going to be at home. Arizona, I believe, is going to make the postseason. I'm not sure about Minnesota, so I'm going to take the Cardinals to win this one at home. Well, now the next game. Okay, Atlanta is going to be going to Tampa Bay. Now, Atlanta, you talk about being demoralized. They were really plastered um, last week. That was really a game. When you look at that game, that was just unbelievable. Atlanta really couldn't do much of anything in their game, and they didn't hardly put up any points last week. And Tampa Bay, it was really all they could do to pull out the victory against the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are a team that might have been a little bit underrated going into the season. They did everything but beat Tampa Bay last week, but Tampa Bay found the resolve to do what they had to do, and they got the W, and that's what ultimately counts, of course. Now, another thing, though, is, look at Tampa Bay. They are the defending Super Bowl champions, of course. They've won like 9 consecutive games going back to last season. In Atlanta, I don't know what's going to happen when they're even getting their first win this season, and they're on the road. So for me, I'm going to take Tampa Bay to get this one done at home. Now the next game, you got the Dallas Cowboys going at the Los Angeles Chargers. Now the Chargers, okay, they may have won last week. I don't know how long they'll keep this up. Are they going to make the postseason this year? Are they overhyped? Dallas, did everything again, but beat Tampa Bay last week. And Tampa Bay is a team that's probably going to contend again for the Super Bowl title. And Dallas Cowboys are really might be a very good team this season. Just a lot of it's going to be predicated on how their defense pans out this season, and they have the offense to be competitive. It's just going to be about their defensive end, what they're on the defensive side, what's going to be going on, and also the health of quarterback Dak Prescott. I think in this game, Dallas is going to have enough to go in and get this victory and get the W. Chargers may make it close. Chargers may be an improved team. They may be better than they were last season, but I don't think they got quite enough to beat the Cowboys in this one. I think it's going to be too much Dak Prescott. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to play better this week, and he's going to play well against that defensive front for the Chargers. And I'm going to take the Cowboys to win this one on the road. Hold on a moment, people. I gotta scroll down on here and see the next game. Okay, sorry about that. Now, well, the next game, we're going to have the Tennessee Titans at the Seattle Seahawks. Well, that could almost go either way, but I'm going to favor Seattle. The Tennessee Titans, last week, of course, they were in a debacle. They got clobbered last week, and it's just that they really completely underperformed. I understand that Ryan Tannehill was out for a little bit because of that COVID. He was a little rusty, it looked like. And the Titans and Derrick Henry just, they made him look like maybe a mediocre running back at best, the Arizona Cardinals defense. Now they got to go into Seattle, and Seattle is a team that may make the postseason this year. They're going to be at home, and playing in Seattle is still at least a relatively tough place to play. Tennessee is going to probably play a lot better than they did last week, and that might make it close, but I got a feeling Seattle's still going to get the W in this particular game. I like Seattle to get this one done at home, so I'm going to take the Seahawks and Russell Wilson's legs. I think they're going to be enough to get this win. Well, now the next game. Well, we're going to have Kansas City Chiefs are going to be at the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Baltimore is coming off a game which maybe they underperformed, but I think maybe they were a little exploited last week for being just overly, so you'd say, dependent or just looking like, like a one-sided team, just with mainly Lamar Jackson and one-dimensional with him and his legs, and you're not going to be able. You might not even make it close if you have to resort to that style play against the Chiefs. I think they can be in trouble. The Chiefs, though, are going to be on the road. Baltimore will probably make this. Will probably be a pretty good game, but Kansas City will at least pull away, I believe, in the end. The Chiefs seem to have this uncanny ability to turn everything on when they have to. When it gets toward the end of the game, like last week against the Browns, from maybe around the middle of the third quarter on, they basically clamped down on Cleveland and managed to win the game, emerge victorious. Uh, I mean, in this game, I see them playing well enough, at least at the end of the game, to contain Baltimore, contain Lamar Jackson, and manage to get the W in this one. I think you're going to have Mahomes and Travis Kelce are going to. They're going to play very well in this one, like they usually do in most games. I think they said I've heard something about Patrick Mahomes has got a perfect infallible record in September, and likely should continue in this one. So I'll take the Chiefs to win this one on the road. Now, last but not least, I'm going to have Detroit is going to Green Bay, and in this game, well, I mean, this is another toss-up, I think, because now Green Bay only put up 3 points last week, but they're going to be out to redeem themselves. They want to really avenge that poor play, that abysmal play they had the previous week, and find a way to beat Detroit in this one. Green Bay was a team that went 13-3 in the regular season last season. In the regular season in 2020. And Detroit, in their game, they played well. They didn't get the W last week, but they did. They were not bad. This is a divisional game. It's going to be on Monday night. My feeling is that Aaron Rodgers and company, they are going to redeem themselves. After how they looked last week, they certainly can't. I don't think they could be any worse than what had transpired last week. The Packers only put up 3 points. I think they're like dead last in the NFL in rushing yards as well, and that's going to have to improve in this one. It just seems like to me, I do believe they're going to bounce back. The team is going to be resilient, and they're going to get the W. Detroit may actually be decent this season. But I think in this particular game, given this is a nationally televised game, it's going to be Monday Night Football. All the lights are going to be on Aaron Rodgers, and I believe they have Devontae Adams as the receiver, and they do have decent running game, although didn't show last week. But the Packers right now, I mean, they can't. It's very early, but it can be troublesome for them if they start out 0-2 early in the season. There's going to be a lot of talk about Aaron Rodgers and if he's going to be able to produce for them this season or not. And especially we had that off season with the Packers and with Aaron Rodgers and all that controversy, all this debate. Well, is he going to stay with the Packers or is he going to go? And they finally got they resolved their issues, and Rodgers, of course, managed to stay with the team. They reached a resolution, but right now, I mean, last week obviously did not look good for him. The Packers looked like that was one of their worst games they've had in really some time, and I think believe that was likely just an aberration, and they should get the W against Detroit this week. So I'm going to take the Packers to win this, come back and win this game. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.